our September Stories of Preservation and Progress. This month we're celebrating Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. And we have no better representative than Mr. Carlos Castro. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
My name is Rachel Goldberg. I'm the programs manager here at the Manassas Museum. And we do this program monthly. And we'll continue to do this program in some form after the museum closes for renovations in December. So keep your eyes out for our program calendar coming up. So Mr. Castro is here to talk today a little bit about himself and his work. And I'm going to pitch you a bunch of questions. Hopefully, those of you in the audience will also have some questions as we go along. I think I'd be fine with people asking questions as we go, if that works for you.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
That's great. I'm excited to see where this conversation leads, and I will also be just sort of keeping an eye on time. We started a little bit late, so we can go a little bit late, but we'll have about 30 to 40 minute chat, and then we'll have some questions as well.
Well, my wife gave me permission to be late at home, so that's okay.
Oh, excellent. Okay, all right. So you're out for the day, and you have permission, even better. And I noticed, too, that you brought some books with you, so I'm excited for that as well. Hopefully you'll talk about your book a bit.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to start, if you could open by just telling us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get here?
Yes. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it's the truth. So,
It's the
you
story.
know, I actually grew up in San Salvador, in the capital of El Salvador, and we were a very poor family, but we were very fortunate to the point that we were happy. We didn't know what we were missing. So, you know, the great thing is that even though my mother never went to school, she barely could scribble her name. And my father went to school when he was married to my mom. He was around 40-something. He finished sixth grade. That was his highest education. So he was big on going to school. Unfortunately, he didn't have the support from his parent. His mom died early, and then my grandfather, I guess he didn't have the means to put him to school. But the great thing is that he was a very smart man, and then he knew what we were about to face out in the world, and he was pushing a lot for a number of values, you know, like and he actually purchased a book about this thick that was called Toward the Peaks, and that book talks about courage and about integrity, about helping others, about loving yourself and having faith. And a number of things that I really enjoy loving it, I enjoy reading it over and over again. And then by the time I finished sixth grade, I realized that, you know, my father needed help at home with the finances, and I also realized that I had to work. So by the time I was on seventh grade, I was going to school at night and working during the day. Didn't feel bad about it, you know, it was my reality. And it was actually pretty good because it helped me mature very early in life. And my father also would say some things like, you know, life is short. By the time you get to be 50, you need to have accomplished your biggest dreams. And I go like 50, that's early, but I guess people die earlier, long time ago, right? So I took all that into consideration, and he made us understand the reality that we had nothing other than an able body and a good working head, you know, and that was it. So he puts us about opportunities. So when I was into seventh grade, I went into a bookstore talking about books, right? And I was looking for something that brought me answers because I was a teenager that needed to know a lot of things, and my father probably couldn't answer those questions. So I read about Robert Schuller. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Robert Schuller. I think he died like a couple of decades ago at least, or maybe a decade ago. He is the gentleman that was a pastor in Garden Grove, California. He had the dream of building a beautiful crystal cathedral. You probably heard of that. And he did it, you know, and I bought 2 books from him. One was called You Can Become the Person You Want to Be, and that grabbed me, you know. The other one that I liked was the one that said, Move Ahead with Possibility Thinking, you know. So with all of that, I thought I had my arsenal to face life. And
Those 2 books were all
those
you were going to
two,
need.
yeah, I bought more than that, but those 2 are the ones that I read over and over again, you know. And I read them then. I'm still, you know, when I feel like reading back, I just pull them out of my bookcase and go backward, you know, to remind me of some of the things that changed my life, you know. Like that, the fact that I knew that I could achieve anything I wanted if I worked hard and tried to and focus, you know. So with all of that,
Where did you grow up at now?
San Salvador.
San Salvador.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I dedicate my time to just that: study and go to work. Very little playing. You know, weekends I was spending time at the library because computers didn't exist. You know, that was many things.
Typewriters.
Typewriter, that was the high tech. You
Yeah.
know? And then I was so excited when they taught us in high school computing. And that was those big machines that were word processors.
Yeah, it was the black screen with the,
And that was the closest thing to a computer. So I had to go to the library when I needed to do a project or something. So I graduated with honors from high school, so it worked. And by the time I graduated, I met a beautiful young lady that is my wife of 40-some years now.
she's still a beautiful young lady.
Still a beautiful young lady. I love her to death. And the great thing is that she has a heart that's bigger than mine. Way big. You can barely fit on her chest, you know. So we made in a way, a very good working relation. She was 18. I was 22, you know, and
Children.
that's right.
Children.
So by the time we had our first kid, the country had evolved from a childhood and the socialists, the communists fighting with the American system, the capitalism, and because of the poverty, the communists were able to succeed better, and they created a mess. Of course, you know, I don't believe in communism or anything like it or close to it. And by the time my kid was 6, it was a full-fledged civil war. I used to work as a technician on an American company. It was my dream job in El Salvador. You know, I had to give it up because the guerrilla was shutting down the factories. You know, in order to make sure that people went into despair and followed them. And then a friend of mine, the mother of one of my middle school classmates, came to El Salvador and she said, "Why don't you go to the U.S. and work for a while so you can help your parents?" And you know, I always dream of coming to the U.S., but I didn't think to come into the U.S. illegally or to work as a janitor, you know, cleaning toilets and. But then again, my father taught us to enjoy what we were doing, or making sure that we enjoy it, you know. So I actually came across the border with a smuggler, and we got caught somewhere along the way, so I didn't make it. And after 48 days in detention, I was deported to El Salvador. And by then, if I had a financial hole when I left, imagine what I have now that I'm back, right? And on the top of that, I had to hide from my friends so that they didn't know that I was coming back and defeated. And then by faith, I actually took on the road again. You know, my hope was to come to the U.S., work for a couple of years. I loved English. I was introduced to English when I was in third grade.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of like I always wanted to learn new words and in English, and it was kind of like my dream to learn it, the language. So with that in mind, 2 years and then go back to my wife and my kid, that was the dream. And then luckily, with faith and prayer, I made it across the border. I made it all the way to LA and then into DC, which is where my friend from middle school lived then. That's how I ended up in the U.S. I ended up in the U.S. In Washington. I arrived on the 3rd day of May of 1980, and the next day I had a job.
Wow.
It was cleaning toilets at the restaurant across the street from Georgetown University.
Oh.
And the dormer, I don't know if you know it, but it's the Tombs. The
Yes,
food is
I know
really
the
good.
Tombs, yeah.
And we still go every now and
It's
then
still
with the
there,
family,
yeah.
and I show them. I used to scrub the floors. I was a busboy, I was a dishwasher, I was a kitchen helper. And then I moved on to work in construction. And from then of course I was going to school trying to learn more English. I enrolled at Nova to learn more, and one day my wife, actually the architect that hired us, I ended up being his project manager, by the time I left the company 5 years later. And my wife was the babysitter and the maid at the architect house. Nice. So the idea of creating Todo Supermarket was to create a small business so she could manage it and leave her a job, being a maid. So, but of course we didn't know what we were getting into. So
That was one of my questions.
we did not know anything about that. And then I started asking. I went to the SBA, Small Business Administration, and they gave me 1 hour crash course on grocery store. So I remember the guy stressing, watch the back door, that's where the money goes out. The delivery guy brings one thing and goes out with another thing on your store. And that was pretty much it. And
That was your college degree.
that was my college degree on grocery store managing. And of course my wife didn't either, but she's so patient, she was trying her best, And at some point I realized that we were losing all our investment if I didn't do anything. And by then I was on my own with my own company doing remodeling. But I had to abandon it. I love construction. I grew up in construction. My father was a builder. And he taught me all the trades, which is what actually helped me when I came to Washington, D.C. I could do, those stucco finishes that were done 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to do them other than using a gun or something. And I was in charge of matching all this old stucco. And that's the kind of thing that I learned when I was a kid. So that helped me a lot. But even though I love it so much, I actually gave up my construction practice and went on to help my wife. But you know what? She didn't have money to pay me a salary. So she barely had enough money to get her salary. She was making more money cleaning houses than managing the store. But business is like that, right? So
So how old are you at this point?
what's that?
How old were you at this point?
35. When we opened the store in 1990, it was 2,500 square feet.
That's small.
That's small, yeah, very small. I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know. I signed the lease, I didn't know what I signed. Never looked for a lawyer. And, generally you bargain, right? I didn't bargain, just went in and signed for whatever they stuck on me.
Oh, no.
So, very expensive lessons in life, but
That with your new degree from the Small Business Association
Exactly.
on how to run grocery stores, you were set.
Yeah, but when first day I realized that we were having merchandise that people were not looking for. So we spent a lot of time asking the customer, what is that you need that we don't have? And they gave us, and I went on Saturday to Washington warehouses, Washington DC
yeah.
warehouses, to look for the merchandise, and we started to look better, but she still wouldn't pay me my salary. So I decided
Making him earn it.
I decided to study tax preparation because people were looking for that, and then nobody was doing it. So that was really good because my high school was in business, and then my college was in industrial engineering. So in a way, you just kind of develop that kind of thought.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions, was about like, where did you learn these skills of being a business person? It sounds like they were you had a foundation, and then some of it came to you.
Yeah, well, I started in business school, but I hated it because I am a go-getter. I need to be active. I can't be sitting on the desk analyzing numbers. I get dizzy. I want my accountant to tell me if I have money or not.
Right.
If I'm making money or not. So it was life. I think I naturally I was sort of like an entrepreneur because when I was 16, I used to work at a cookie factory. So I used to buy cookies, and I would have my little sister to sell them on the side of the road. But kids love cookies, so the business didn't go well.
You ate the proceeds.
That's right. Then I started a firewood business.
Oh.
But my mother cooked with firewood, so
no.
where the firewood went.
Yeah.
So that
She
didn't
burned
work.
the
So
proceeds,
I gave up, and then in industrial engineering at that time in El Salvador, it's little business, little engineering, but it's all related to industry. So it developed a little bit, but it was more like one thing that, like I said at the beginning, my father was big is helping others. So when we started the business, people from Mexico or Salvador or other places would come to the store to ask for advice. Because in our country, people that has a business, they has more education, and at least that's the perception. And my wife would ask people to come back when I was there. So I think sometimes she had told the people that needed advice. And that was really good. That's how I started getting involved in the community. Then I got invited to join the chamber, the Prince William Regional Chamber that doesn't exist anymore. And then I got into politics, not to be a politician, but to have a voice with the politicians for my community. And I love it, So we also start giving opportunities to our team to grow within the ranks. So we were growing, and then we start receiving high school kids, to help them mature early, so that they know what takes to work and succeed, and mentor them, So it was kind of like a natural way of. There was a need in this parent for us to give an opportunity for the kids, and in turn they are our customers that are loyal for the same reason. And so through the years, we have developed a great deal of loyalty in our community. And one of the things that I enjoy is going to schools. When they call me, I've been to school here in Manassas. And of course, my natural, footprint is Wolves, but I give talks to, to little kids or bigger kids and grown ups, and I enjoy it. I just adapt the same knowledge to the different ages, and it's very rewarding because after 31 years in business, every now and then I get people that come to me and shake hands and say hello, and they go, "Do you remember me?" And I go like, "Well, really, no, I'm really old. I can't remember anything anymore." And they tell me the stories. When I was in middle school, you came and gave us this talk. And you inspire me. Now I want you to know that I graduated from my bachelor's degree and I'm getting my master's, you know. Or other kids go like, hey, you know, Mr. Castro, remember when you came to our school and brought us soccer balls and, you know, talked to us about this or that?
Right.
Very rewarding for me. So my wife and I have made sure that we have a balance. You know, it's not about money like my father. We never had money anyway, so maybe that's what he said. But he said, work hard, money will follow. Don't worry about money. So we don't. You know, we need to worry to make sure that we have, you know, money for our payroll and our rent and everything.
Right.
But we focus our time in family time, you know, church, community, and of course work.
Right.
And hard work. So
It sounds like you never take the easy way. So it sounds like, you know, even when you were in, I think you said like 7th grade, you were going to school at night and working during the day, and then you came here and, you know, started with scrubbing floors, and you never took the easy way. And now you're a business person as well as a philanthropist, and you know, you're so involved with your community. Like, at what point are you just going to say like, okay, I've done enough, I'm going to just like sit back and buy a boat?
yeah, well, you know, my body's telling me you better slow down. But my brain is going like, oh, I can do this. And my wife goes like, you're saying that you want to retire, here you are starting something else, you know. Like we have started a project in El Salvador that like anything we touch it gets too big, you know. So it's like
It's a blessing and a curse. Yeah.
But actually, you know, we are actually hiring young people over there just out of college that didn't have an opportunity, and people from the town that were like 5-6 months without a job, now they have a job. So good things are happening, and
What is that
and we're happy with
project?
it.
Tell us a bit about that project.
It's a coffee and cocoa farm, and so we produce coffee, chocolate, you know, and we produce plants like a nursery, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that we can actually make money to pay the employees, because it's
Right.
expensive to keep those lands, you know, clean and,
Right.
and fertilized and all that. So the ultimate idea, you know, if God allows me to live long enough, I want this place to be like a job factory, but I don't want just to hire the farmers from around. Like I just hired a business administrator to run the business, and an industrial engineer, you know, to actually manage the project, and I have discovered some talent in people that don't have a school, but they have the right attitude.
Right.
And I said, you're gonna be a winner, so we're gonna make sure that they also achieve their dream. But ultimately, I want this place to be like a retreat, camping, extreme sports. You know, we're putting a canopy ride that's gonna be almost 1 kilometer from the edge of the road to the heart of the mountain.
Amazing. Like
Yeah.
a big zip line?
Yeah, the big zip line. It's gonna be the largest zip line in El Salvador by the time we're done.
I'll go.
So, yeah.
You sold one ticket.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're creating housing so that we can house people that come from the U.S., you know, and other countries. So, and ultimately, I want this place to be sort of like a knowledge distributor you know, for lack of a better word. You
I
know?
like that though, a knowledge distributor, yeah.
Yeah, I want people to be self-sufficient. I want people to dream and to work for those dreams, because the way we go in society now, whether you're in the US or outside the US, is like somebody has to fix your problem. Somebody else has to give you money, take your kids, you know, and you know, politicians do that, unfortunately. And they did that in El Salvador, and you know, they're doing it here with good intention maybe. But when it comes to me, I was taught to be self-sufficient, and having something for free, it was kind of like a disgrace. You know, it was maybe too hard on us, my dad, you know, but that was what he taught us.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to be in El Salvador. I want people to know
Right.
that they can succeed right there, but they need to work hard, you know. It's
Right,
gotta-
instead of just giving them
Yeah.
money or whatever.
Yeah.
You're helping them understand themselves in a different
Yes,
way.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we have done some marketing analysis, and there is a lot of opportunity there because the town where my wife was born, that where we had the project, is called Berlin. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's called Berlin, and it's at the top of a mountain. It's a coffee producing mountain that was developed by Europeans, you know, and people from other countries. My wife's dad was from, I think, Israeli or Palestinian descent, and others were German, Italian. They're the ones that had the knowledge about coffee. And so the climate, as you know, sometimes at 6 o'clock, the town fills up with fog and the quietness, so
yeah.
it's lovely there. So I think we have all the ingredients to make it a success.
That sounds great.
But again, it's a crazy deal. People tell me that's a bad investment. I said, I know, but who cares?
Well, it
it's
sounds
just
like
money.
you've had other really great bad investments. So
I know.
sounds like like you said, everything you touch gets too big.
Yeah. Somebody was joking about that. He probably has the Midas touch. No, forget it. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a little
it's the work
different.
touch.
Yeah. Everything you touch makes everybody work harder.
I know.
That's great, though. That's, a wonderful endeavor. So you're focusing on that and your 2 stores here for now until your wife makes you retire.
Yeah, and I think, I already hired a person that I think is going to replace me at the job.
Oh, how
So,
does that feel?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I can't wait to open a new store. And then I said, bye, call me, Janine.
That's great.
Yeah, and we were doing that already. It took me a while to decide to develop this new store, but the economic conditions were at the right moment to do it, and we decided to take the challenge. But it's not easy with the life that we're living now.
Yeah.
With the pandemic, and all
It's
the
hard.
limits, there is not enough people, there is lack of equipment, materials. Everything is
Right.
it's very difficult.
Everything is either hard to get or more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that my days as a cashier and my wife's days as a cashier were gone, but we might have to be cashiers and start
Going
playing
back to the
at the store.
beginning. Yeah, going back to the beginning.
Yeah, until we get enough people to work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this new store.
Yeah, the new store is gonna be 65,500 square feet.
So from 2,500 to
Yeah.
65,000.
Yeah.
Some growth.
Well, actually, no. 2,500 was back in 1990.
90.
Then 5 years later, we went to 5,000.
Oh, okay.
5 years later, we went to 18,000.
Oh, wow. That was a big jump.
And then we jumped into 70,000, which is the Marunco store. And then we have the little store in Dumfries that is like 18,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's the one that jumped. He probably has the Midas touch. No, forget it. That doesn't work.
Yeah, it's a little
it's the work
different.
touch.
Yeah. Everything you touch makes everybody work harder.
I know.
That's great, though. That's, a wonderful endeavor. So you're focusing on that and your 2 stores here for now until your wife makes you retire.
Yeah, and I think, I already hired a person that I think is going to replace me at the job.
Oh, how
So,
does that feel?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I can't wait to open a new store. And then I said, bye, call me, Janine.
That's great.
Yeah, and we were doing that already. It took me a while to decide to develop this new store, but the economic conditions were at the right moment to do it, and we decided to take the challenge. But it's not easy with the life that we're living now.
Yeah.
With the pandemic, and all
It's
the
hard.
limits, there is not enough people, there is lack of equipment, materials. I mean, it's everything is
Right.
it's very difficult.
Everything is either hard to get or more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that my days as a cashier and my wife's days as a cashier were gone, but we might have to be cashiers and stuff
Going
like
back to the beginning.
that.
Yeah, going back to the beginning.
Yeah, until we get enough people to work. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about this new store.
Yeah, the new store is gonna be 65,500 square feet.
So from 2,500 to
Yeah.
65,000.
Yeah, yeah.
Some growth.
Well, actually, no. 2,500 was back in 1990.
90.
Then 5 years later, we went to 5,000.
Oh, okay.
And 5 years later, we went to 18,000.
Oh, wow. That was a big jump.
And then we jumped into 70,000, which is the Marunco store.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the little store in Dumfries that is
Uh-huh.
like 18,000 square feet.
Yeah.
That's the one that jumped from 18,000 to 65,000.
Wow.
And we're redesigning it. We changed the name. Now it's not gonna be Todos supermarket. It's gonna be Todos neighborhood market. Because
Oh.
that's what we became, you
Yeah,
know.
that's nice.
And
Even though it's getting bigger, you're going smaller sort of in feel.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
with your
nice.
neighborhood store. So we're excited. It's always a nail-biting moments when you're at the last minute trying to get inspections and everything
Yeah.
going.
When is the opening planned for?
November 16th.
That's in a
So
minute.
I'm trying not to think about it because I get anxious. You know?
I can't believe you're even here. But then again, going back to the whole, you never do anything easy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well done.
But I enjoy it, like being here. I enjoy it, and
Yeah.
I enjoy it better than I enjoy money. So
Perfect. I wonder if, since you touched on it a little bit, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what it's been like to be a grocery store owner during the pandemic. I know everyone says that these are unprecedented times, and we've all had to pivot and all the things. But what has it actually been like for you?
Well, number one, I discovered the love and respect of my team. Because they said, you stay home, we're gonna be here in the trenches, we're just gonna call you and we do it by video chat or whatever.
Nice.
So I thought that was very touching,
Yeah, that's
because
wonderful.
they know they want to be there.
Yeah.
And actually, believe it or not, the first person that got the virus was one of my top managers. The second person was the manager from Dumfries, so,
Oh, no.
because they were,
Yeah.
with all the people. And that was very, was wonderful to feel, to feel that respect
The
and
community.
that love.
Yeah.
And then we tried to protect our team with, plexiglass.
Right.
And we even came up with a concoction, one of those teas that you put,
Oh, yeah.
all those roots and herbs and stuff, then
Did
it
it
tastes
work?
like dynamite. It works,
Tastes like dynamite.
It
Then you add a
works.
shot of whiskey
That's
for
right.
good measure.
Yeah, because it plays on your brain,
Yeah.
okay, you're taking this, you'll be fine.
Everyone have a cup of tea on your way into work.
Yeah, and we went through to getting vitamins and, anything that we could hear. And actually, when we were doing that at the store, I got really busy with the county, the business development part, the health department, the governor's office. Anybody that needed help and opinion, I was there. I'd never been so busy in my life, participating in webinars and meetings and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
glad it's almost over.
I know.
At least the rush that we had of those
Right.
days, because we were learning
Yeah.
about the virus. And I wanted to be there because I wanted to have first-hand information so I could
Right.
take it to my people and say, hey, stop that doesn't work,
Right.
let's change it, And so it was difficult also because people thought that you were gouging with the prices, you were, playing with the prices.
But everything got more expensive.
And scarce,
Yeah.
Who would think that toilet paper would be a reason for people trying to fight in a store, you know.
It's insane.
Insane. So it's not been easy.
Yeah.
But I've been through worse scenarios, so maybe
Right.
not worse than that, but I had my worst
I
through the
mean,
years, you know. So
Yeah.
so,
That's good.
but glad we are alive. We didn't have too many cases.
Good.
Now cases are coming up, you know, which is
The Delta variant.
yeah, so it's very difficult. But I discovered that by having a positive attitude, the virus doesn't get to you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then you have a little shot of vodka that works even better. No, I'm kidding. People put alcohol in their hand, right?
I know.
Yeah, I put it on my throat, so what?
It washes the whole system. Yeah. Vodka
I'm
just
kidding, I'm
scrubs your
kidding.
insides. That's funny. Do you want to tell us a bit about your book?
Yes, you know, back in 2007, 2008, when we were fighting the rule of law with the county supervisor
Mm-hmm.
that wanted to get rid of all the immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, you know, we were working with them, with the community, trying to make sure that we didn't fall apart completely. And I was involved, and while we were on a retreat at George Mason University by the Potomac River, I met a community activist, you know, an American lady, that she said, "You need to write your story. You know, I'm gonna help you." And you know, time is thing that it's very scarce for me. So, but she helped me. We wrote it in English, and then I realized that who wants to read it in English? I mean, you know, I know the kids of Latinos don't speak very good Spanish, they want it in English.
Yeah.
But the majority, the people that I want to reach, speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And so I had to pay somebody to translate it into Spanish. By the time we finished the translation, we modified it so much that I had to pay somebody
new
to
book.
put it back into English. So it's a very expensive book. But I have not done it for the money. The reason that I have this book is because I want to share my experiences. Because it's simple. You know, what my wife and I achieved, it can be achieved by anybody. You know, even if you're start like me, you know, cleaning toilet. So and by putting it together, I want to use it as a support for giving, a talk to people of all ages,
Right.
you know, to share, you know, whatever people want to know.
That's great.
And I have not really promoted this, so
No?
I'm so busy, you know, I give it away.
Do you
You know,
sell it
nobody's
in the
buying it, so I
store?
have to give it away. So.
You should sell it in the store.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy giving that away because if they're interested, I give it away. I don't push it to nobody because, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. So it got
That's nice.
my life from being a kid and the things that we discussed in more detail, you know, and how many business difficult we had, and then how many people helped me along the way. You know, those stories are there. They are in Spanish, but it'll be in English. We're reviewing it as it is. You know, as we speak, trying to see if you know, by the end of the year I have it in English.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Because you don't have anything else to do.
Exactly. That's why it took me 10 years to write it.
Okay, fair enough. Wow, I mean, that's impressive. That's
Thank
really
you.
impressive.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm curious, so we've been talking now for about half an hour, 40 minutes. I wonder if anybody has questions? Yes, sir?
Do you have any children, and are they involved in your business?
Yes, I had three kids. One is 25, the last one, and The second one is he's a boy. Then we have a 35-year-old girl. 35 and a 40, I forget. It's been so long. 42-year-old boy, and the two eldest ones are full time. The other one just come and goes. Young people sometimes don't want to work too much, so we have to put up with all that too. So, but the three of them are involved. Yeah.
And where are your two stores located now?
The main store right now is at Morocco Plaza, Route 1, and the Prince William Parkway in Woodbridge.
Okay.
And the second one is gonna be like 8 miles south of the Woodbridge store on Route 1 also.
Oh, okay.
So we're serving an area that is called Southbridge in Potomac, what is it called? Potomac Shores or something. It's it's a mix of a neighborhood. You have poor people, you have apartments, you have,
Right.
and then you have also affluent
Enormous
people.
houses,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
So they're both along Route 1 there, but not in Dumfries anymore.
No, not in Dumfries. I'll be like almost 2 miles away from the Dumfries store. But interesting enough, people are going to Woodbridge, the one in Dumfries.
Oh.
So I guess they like us.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because a Korean outfit bought the Dumfries store
Really?
from me. Yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
really great. Other questions?
Yeah, I find it amazing now, just from looking at the grocery stores over the years, that a lot of them just kind of come and go. They say it's really competitive business and stuff. And I was really surprised, like when Aldi and Lidl came into the picture, that I don't see how a lot of the stores stayed in business anymore. And actually some of them did close down. But I figured it was really tough times. They're competing with them.
Yeah, well, part of what's going on now in America and many places, and Prince William County is the 10th more diverse county in the country.
Is it really?
Number 10, yeah.
Prince William County?
Yes, so you can tell that, one of the reasons of our success is because we were able to adapt to new people, because the fact that you speak Spanish doesn't mean that it's the same culture.
Right.
Salvadorans have their own culture, their own
Right.
language, own slang. And, then Mexicans have their own, and Peruvians and Colombians, and
Right.
every country in general is a different culture. So even we have to be careful how we use the language, Spanish language. Because what can be nice and casual for me can be a bad word for somebody else, and I had those cases. So now I'm trying to, even when I wrote the book, to use, middle of the road language.
Right, yeah, that's interesting. It's something that we're thinking about as we re-envision the museum is, nearly half of the population of Manassas are native Spanish speakers now.
Yeah.
But they are all different native Spanish.
And different pride and different,
Right.
different mindsets.
Right.
So it's not easy. But
Yeah.
through the years with my wife, we learned to not only to cultivate the friendship, but also to learn their custom and try to help them in any way. So on the top of having the tax practice, I actually went into business, one of those young kids that I inspired when she was going to middle school. And now we have like a accounting firm rather than just taxes, because they are accounting. Her and her wife. It's her and her husband are both in business. So we're partners now, and then we have a insurance agency, basically trying to cater to the needs and people that want to do things in their own language,
Right.
with people that you trust.
That's great.
Yeah, so it's really good. I have had difficulty for a long time I did have difficulty attracting like regular Americans because they see the name, right? And then, okay, that's a Latino store. I have
Right.
this store that is my store for my entire life. So,
Everything,
you know,
right,
exactly.
right.
So we are used to do things one way. But as time goes by, I have more and more people from different cultures, not just white and African American, but Middle Eastern and Asian people, and we also have an incubator, you know, within the store that will give people opportunity to start a business. So, you know, they go on and move to a better place, you know, or
Right.
they stay there.
That's the
But
great
it's-
thing about being in one community for so long is that you can really see the impact that you have over time.
Yes, yes.
And those middle school kids who
Yeah,
come
exactly.
back and tell you how inspired they were.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
And there was a kid in actually at Fredling Elementary, they had what is called the Gentlemen's Club, just boys, and they asked me if I could talk to them. So I talked to them about the book that my father bought, you know, courage and respect and hard work, and there was time for questioning, right? So one said, "Do you mean to tell me that if I do what you're telling us to do the way you did it, that I can be as successful like you are?" And I said, no, you're gonna be more successful because you're just a little kid. You know, I learned this later in life.
Oh,
You're learning
yeah.
it now, so you know.
They've got years on you.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
so
that's
but
great.
they were paying attention, you know. So that's the whole idea.
Yeah. You just
Um,
never know whose life you're going to change.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's unvaluable. What do you call it? Is that
Invaluable.
invaluable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Such a huge impact. And the tiniest interaction can have like ripples throughout the
Yes,
community. You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, I help a young lady start a business. It is incubating within my store, and she does event planning and very talented young lady. She does, you know, T-shirts and dresses and stuff. And she actually recited the whole story that I told her when she was in summer school.
That's so funny.
So, you know, it's the kind of thing that you say, well, by the time my life ends, you know, I'll be satisfied. And that's what my
It's
father did.
amazing. I mean, not only are you providing a service and, you know, outreach to your community, but then that outreach is creating outreach, which is creating outreach. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's
Amazing.
the idea, and I always go for the big dream, you know. If I'm gonna do
Why
something
go small?
for 10 kids, why not do it for 100? You know,
Yeah.
same me, same time, you know, we can reach out more people. So.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Really wonderful. Anybody else, Victoria, do you have any questions?
I'm just awestruck.
I know, we're all just kind of like,
I have a question.
yes.
You've mentioned, building communities, and you've even mentioned politics a couple times, and somebody mentioned about the population in our area. I serve on the school board here in the city of Manassas, and I know that our student population is 66% Hispanic. What would you say to someone, we really want to build more leadership within the Hispanic community so we can have more representation in our city in the leadership role? What would you suggest for that?
Well, we as Latino business, we have been doing a little push and a little support for people that are running for office. You know, sometimes, you know, and we try to not be partisan. You know, just focusing in the people. And when we see that a candidate is a good person, we have been supporting them. Manassas Park, Manassas, and the county. But at todos, we also have an organization. We have the organization that is called OLA, that was created precisely to develop leadership. So we have done a number of things through the years, but as we rethink everything after the pandemic, we want to use like a short script, something really simple that can act and impact kids and we want to start offering it to school for a different way of doing it. I've been doing it myself, but now we can, I don't have to do it. I need to retire, right? So we want to see if through Ola we get more role models that we can present to the kids, and they can tell their story, and then people say, oh, okay, because you can get a book and tell them, look, if you need to do this and that, you're gonna get this result. It doesn't work like that. But if somebody tell them, I came from Costa Rica and did this and did that, and these were my problems, but I needed to do this, then so we're focusing on that as an organization. By the way, that organization was started at the office of Chairman Sean Canatan, because he's a visionary guy, and he said, Latinos are growing too fast here, you need an organization. So he created that and he nurtured it until we were on our own. That was maybe, it's gonna be like 20 years ago by now, but.
And it's Ola, like O-L-A?
What's that? HOLA, Hispanic Organization for Leadership and Action. And it was actually many in the community that came up with the acronym and the name. So I think what we need to do, and it frustrates me sometimes because there is a lot of successful Latino people that have made it really well and have enough money, that they can actually spare some time and dedicate it to support our schools, our community, but they're not doing it the way I would love for them to do it. So we're trying to figure out how can we push people, and we're doing it, but not on the numbers that
Right.
See, people our Latino people get very involved when it comes to the political cause or religious, very big.
Right.
But when it comes to things that it takes a little more thinking, a little more vision to really know that if we don't do this now, the result is going to be way bad. That's where I couldn't say in general, but at least in this region, that is so many people of different countries, we need to do that, our duty to support our community. And also one thing that we need to do, since you sit on the school board, just lecturing people about racial, what the word? Tolerance, or you can tell me that until I turn blue or you turn blue, but if you don't get me in front interacting with those people that you want me to appreciate, it doesn't work. Generally, it doesn't work.
Right.
In my experience is so I told the school board that in Prince William, through other people, that what we need to do is make sure that we put these cultures to interact.
Yeah.
So we're multicultural, but we're also intercultural.
Right.
That we respect you, and that we're proud of who we are, but I respect who you are, and then we all should be understanding each other and working together. But that doesn't happen unless you interact with those people and you get to see that person has the same dreams. Nothing changes.
Right.
Same color of your blood, skin color, that's the only thing that changes sometimes, and sometimes not even that, So it's a lot of work that needs to be done now post-pandemic. That it's I don't even want to think about it because I have done a lot of that, and I go like, no, don't call me anymore.
Yeah, there's been a lot of, I feel like throughout the last year and a half or so, there's been a lot of preaching to the choir, so to speak.
Yeah.
And now it's time for like all the choirs to get together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of warming up the choirs. So now it's time for the choirs to get together and sing.
Yeah, and the results are so impressive. people that hate other people. Like, remember the day laborer thing back in 2008? Supervisor Bark asked me to be on a commission that we were trying to figure out what to do with the day laborers. And at the beginning, there was a big white man, sitting across the table, and there were some Latinos here, and all kind of people. But this gentleman got my attention because he was very upset. He actually wanted to reach out and grab the guy by the neck and wring it, so it was very intense. But we talk, the good old American way, we listen and we discuss and we respect. Believe it or not, by the time we finished the series of meetings, the same guy that was so frustrated with the day labor issue, he said, guys, I think we need to figure out what to do about it. So let's put our head together and come up with a solution. That's because we interact. And then we got to meet him and we got to respect him. And he did the same otherwise. So we need to do that a lot.
Yeah, it's
nowadays.
a form of diplomacy, really.
Yeah.
It's that face-to-face diplomacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't fail,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really doesn't, yeah. There's a famous quote out there about, I think it's a Murrow quote about the impact and the efficacy of face-to-face diplomacy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have learned a lot, I have to admit that I was that kind of people that was not patient, I thought, how can you think that? That's, bad.
Right.
But when you start listening and being quiet, you realize that even what it looked like a dumb suggestion, somebody picks up on it and turns it into a beautiful solution.
Right.
So,
There was a nugget in there somewhere
Yeah,
that needed to be
exactly,
uncovered,
yeah.
right?
so it's gonna be a lot of need of that kind of interaction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Let's do it. Well, does anybody else have any other questions? Well, I think, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, the only thing I want to add is that, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's always good to remind of the good and the bad, and then we come back to earth in case we are floating. So for me, it has been a good opportunity to be here, in front of you all and share.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is going to go on our YouTube channel as well, and we'll leave some breadcrumbs from our Facebook page to YouTube so that people will find you. And I'll send you that link as well so you can share with anyone you like. I think your story is incredible. I wish I could read it in Spanish.
I'll get you the English version.
Okay, all right, when it's ready.
When it's ready, yeah.
At the beginning of the pandemic, I told myself, when it was the whole, we're all gonna stay at home and bake bread thing, I was like, I'm gonna learn to speak Spanish. And of course, I ended up working, but that whole baking bread thing and learning to speak Spanish went by the wayside. But one day I will read your book in Spanish. So thank you so much for coming. Thanks for bringing your own posse. And thank you to Mrs. Castro for letting Carlos come. And for all of your hard work and your dedication to the community. Really, it's commendable.
Yeah. By the way, this is my birthday gift. Today, my 67th birthday.
Happy birthday! Aw,
Yeah.
thanks so much for coming.
My
I think
pleasure.
you mentioned to me in an early email it was your birthday.
Yeah.
I should have had a cake.
No, that's okay. I don't do cakes anymore.
Oh, okay. All right, well, thank you so much, and happy birthday.
My pleasure.
And hopefully
Thank you
now
so
y'all
much.
will all go celebrate.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. All
Take
right,
care.
well,
Thank you for coming, Joe.
yeah, thank you.